up, everybody? It's another edition of the Triple P Pluggo's PLE Post Show. I know TNA doesn't dub their shows a PLE, but that's what I'm calling them. That's what it is. You finally got me on board with calling these premium live events. So everybody does PLEs. Up late with Pluggo. Lawrence is saying, yeah, I'm flying solo right now because this was a very last minute decision on my part. I kind of decided yesterday that I was going to do this, and of course, it being in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, it started late, so it's late here on the East Coast. It is Saturday morning, which, if you know, I'm usually here Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. with Blair for 4 Exposure, which we will be doing that in a few short hours, but I'm a crazy person. And I threw this thing together. And Fernando's in the house saying, Buenos noches, Pluggo. And he said he is so pumped for Javon Evans versus Leon Slater. Dude, we can start right there. So TNA just went off the air. Victory Road. Like I said, it is in Edmonton. I believe they said that this was the first pay-per-view in Edmonton since 2004, if I'm not mistaken. And you know that we are a proudly Edmonton-based company here at Love Wrestling. Even though I am not from Edmonton, I still rep Edmonton strong here for my boys. And a lot of the Love Wrestling folk that you know and love were there at TNA. We had a great time. It looks like they had a great time. This show, we'll start there. Yeah, Mrs. Pluggo's in the chat. I'm Mrs. Pluggo. She's got her stream. So that means she must have her phone working. We've been having charger port issues all day here at the Pluggo household. So if anybody has any tips, tricks, or anything of that nature to help us not, to be able to stay fully charged, because there's a lot going on in the world. But yes, so Santino comes out after the main event, and that was very much a Pluggo main event. Leon Slater versus Myron Reed is very much a match that I absolutely look forward to. I love both of those gentlemen. I think they're immensely talented. They tore the house down. And then Santino comes out and says that Bound for Glory, because this was the road to Bound for Glory. This is kind of their road to WrestleMania type deal. Bound for Glory is their biggest show of the year for those that maybe are watching TNA for the first time. Yeah, and Santino goes, I got your challenger, Leon Slater, and it's Javon Evans of NXT, and I couldn't think of a better pairing of two people with similar styles, similar upside. They're both incredibly young. I believe Javon is 21. Leon is 21, 22. Zach's now saying a hashtag Pluggo main event. Yes, I'm here. We're chatting TNA. If you're in the chat, let me know what you thought of the show. If you caught any of the news, I'm going to try to break it down as quick as possible. It is late. I don't want to keep you guys up all night. I mean, I could go all night, but we're going to save the all-night love for when Boris does his 40-hour stream next month, which I still need to get some time slots in for that. And I will. I promise you, I will. But like I said, we are in Edmonton on the road to Bound for Glory next month, in a couple of weeks, actually. And I will be there with JPJ covering Bound for Glory for Love Wrestling. So I'm very excited to make my way to Lowell, Massachusetts, the Boston area. I've never been. So that'll be a great time. But we started off with the pre-show, and we started off with the Rascals, not Myron Reed. He was in the main event. Zachary Wentz, Trey Miguel taking on Cedric Alexander in a triple threat match. And that's I think I'm showing what type of, I love fast-paced, just crazy, chaotic matches. And this was another one of those very fun Pluggo-style matches. Trey Miguel super kicked Zachary Wentz almost immediately, and it was very fun to watch, them both kind of one up each other, and it looks like they're cool. It seems like they're okay because they came out in the main event later on that night to support Myron Reed, a fellow Rascal, in his quest for the X Division Championship. So it looked like it was all in good fun. I thought, oh my gosh, are we getting a turn right away here with the Rascals? Like, that would be nuts to start off Bound for Glory, but it was what it was. It was a fast-paced match. Zachary Wentz, I don't know what to call it. What's his name? Trey Miguel had Zachary Wentz or no, he had Cedric. Oh my God, it's been hours since I watched this thing. He had he had Cedric in this like spider submission hold, and Wentz hits a splash off of the top rope, and he picks up the win to kick off the pre-show. So that was very cool. I really enjoyed the way they kicked it off. Then we ended up. Oh, Maria's in the house. Hello, Maria. Welcome in. I'm glad to see everybody. Make sure you hit that like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Share this out. Tell your friends so we can keep the lights on here. And so Zach and Spencer keep hiring me to do these things for them at god-awful hours of the night. We had a first class. It was a solid match. I agree. I thought it was a super solid way to open the countdown show. They didn't call it a pre-show. They call it a countdown show. I'm all over the place with how TNA calls their stuff. I should probably watch TNA more than I do, but there's only so much time in the day. We had a first-class penthouse segment with just AJ Francis, which I don't know the situation, why Casey Navarro wasn't there, whatever it was, but it was just AJ Francis, and he had a scheduled guest, Matt Hardy, and Matt Hardy ultimately crashed. Even though he was a special guest, he came out too early. But before Matt Hardy got out there, AJ Francis did the trope thing. He had Houston Texans gear on. He was at the Monday Night Football game. He said he gets invited to Thursday Night Football games, the Cheez-It Bowl. He's the biggest star TNA's ever seen. And then he does the thing. He does the thing where he takes off that Houston Texans jacket to unveil his Florida Panthers t-shirt to remind everyone in Edmonton. And I'm not a huge hockey guy. But I know how much hockey means, especially in Canada, especially to my Edmonton friends who root for the Oilers, who have lost the Stanley Cup, as AJ Francis said, back-to-back years to the Florida Panthers. So very, very cheap heat on AJ Francis's part. I like where AJ Francis has gone. He could have easily changed his whole style, his whole persona, his whole gimmick when he left WWE, but he's taken what he saw the vision was there, and he's ran with it in TNA. I think he's one of the more entertaining people on the show on a week-to-week basis. But anyway, Matt Hardy comes out. They go back and forth. AJ Francis tells Matt Hardy they're the greatest tag team of all time, not 3D, not the Hardy Boys, who were having a tables, ladders, and chairs match at Bound for Glory. And Matt Hardy took offense to that, of course, because he's one of the greatest tag teams of all time, if not the greatest tag team of all time. It depends on how you want to look at it. But ultimately, AJ Francis gets the one up here, throws Hardy through a table, which ultimately leads to a tables match later on in the night between Francis and Matt Hardy, which, okay, I had fun with it. Matt Hardy gets the win there. He ends up doing a leg drop off the top turnbuckle but AJ Francis pretty much dominated for most of the match. It was a good little back and forth. And then Hardy gets the win. I don't think there's anything. Hardys are the GOATs, Maria said. In the chat, if you're in the chat, one, I appreciate you for staying up this late with me. Two, who is your favorite tag team of all time? Because listen, First Class said that they're the GOATs. I don't know. So let me know in the chat as I sip on some water to stay hydrated. You got to stay hydrated out there, friends. So, yeah, ultimately that led to a match between AJ Francis and Hardy's. I would like to maybe, and AJ Francis made a claim during the match that he knows these belts should be theirs. Maybe we'll get a First Class and Hardy Boys match proper. Jeff was not there tonight. I think there are certain reasons why Jeff was not there tonight. So when they get back into the States, the Hardy Boys can link up. Maybe we get that match here at one of these TNA tapings before Bound for Glory, but maybe we'll get it afterwards. Or if you want to get crazy and throw them into that mix, I wouldn't throw them into the Bound for Glory mix. I'd let that just stand alone on its own. But, hey, we've seen crazier things in TNA. The System takes on Order 4. They're not allowed at ringside later on for Mustafa Ali and Moose, as they fought to decide who was going to get the advantage at Bound for Glory. The Steiners, Fernando said. Wow, what a shout there. You don't hear the Steiners thrown out there enough as how good they were as a tag team. I think that a lot of people have soured on certain Steiner after some things that he had said. But if you looked at them in a vacuum, yeah, they're up there for sure. One of the greatest tag teams of all time. I definitely enjoyed their WCW days. But yeah, we get the System taking on Order 4. The System ultimately gets the win here after they take out Special Agent Zero and they get a roll-up win. It was a fun match. I think this was supposed to be on the pre-show. I don't know if the pre-show went long and this was planned all along. They decided to kick off the official card with this matchup. Nothing really, to write home about here. Fun little match. Good way to kick it off the night. I'm okay with it. If you have anything that you thought from the opening match to put in the chat, go right ahead. At the end of the day, I'm not a huge System guy. I think that's part of it. I'm not that big into the System. So it is what it is for me. And it's nothing against who's in the System. It's just not for me. And then we get the first big news of the night, and I don't know why. Nothing's been reported as of yet that I've seen, but Ash by Elegance, your new TNA Knockouts Championship. Now, if we want to go back a little bit here, she was supposed to have a match with Masha Slamovich, and then some news broke about Masha and some things that happened in the relationship she was in, allegedly had happened. So this match was off the table for as it was anyway, and I don't know if maybe this just was a better, like they didn't want to find her something to do. But she comes out, she's very somber, she basically said that she can't compete in the ring. She didn't give a timetable. She didn't even say, I'll be back. She didn't say, I'm going to come. She just said, at this time, I can't ring. And Fernando is saying she's injured. Yeah, I don't know what the injury is, but she had to forfeit the TNA Knockouts Championship. So they just get it back a couple months ago. It's in the TNA camp, and they just get it back, and she has to relinquish it. You could tell she was devastated. You could tell everybody in the room was bummed. I know I was sitting at home like, man, that's a huge bummer, because Ash is another one of those people that left WWE for me and has really grabbed on to what she's doing and really ran with it. And she's been hitting her strides and she's been at her peak. She's TNA Knockouts champion. So super bummer there. So then the decision is made right then and there. They scrapped they obviously scrapped the TNA Knockouts championship. You think it's more of a storyline, maybe? Tyler, welcome to the chat. Welcome in, friend. I see that Chiefs logo there. Go Chiefs, go. Yeah, she was on a roll, Fernando. Yeah, feel free to drop any comments or things you want to talk about. Keep them respectful, of course, but we'll assume. Well, I don't know until we know, because it was weird that she forfeited the title the way she did. Like I said, normally in those situations, you'll hear the competitor say, I'll be back and I'm going to come back stronger and ever, and I'm going to come grab this title. She didn't say any of that, so it was very up in the air. But they scrapped the Elegance brand tag match, knockout tag matches, and the championship match. So they decided to do a battle royal to decide who was going to challenge for the TNA Knockouts Championship tonight at Victory Road here. And they had their, normal cast of characters came out. Kalani Jordan walked out, which of course we'll talk about her here in a minute. She's in the mix. Xia Li is in the mix. The Inspiration's in it. The Elegance brand is in the mix. Ultimately, it's Lee and Jordan who win. The last two get the spot, and they'll challenge later. So here we go. We got the NXT infiltration in this knockout championship that they just got back. But we'll talk about Kalani Jordan here shortly. I have a few thoughts on some of the stuff that transpired there. Then we ended up, let me get this right. Yeah, we had the Nemeths and Cardona. Nemeth taking on Cardona and Hometown Man. Mr. Hometown, Mr. Edmonton, Alberta himself was in the building. Got a huge pop. Came out with the Edmonton Sting mascot. He is a true-blooded Edmonton, Albertan. Somebody in the Edmonton, Canadian area. Let me know what you guys are called. Like I'm from Indiana. We're called Hoosiers. We're not like Indianians, but So Cardona and the hometown man. This match was fine. This match was cool. Like, there wasn't anything spectacular about it. It's not one of the matches that I think people were like, oh my God, I got to see it. It was a fun little tag match. It got the Nemeth on the card. It got Cardona on the card. Hometown man. Ultimately, Cardona and the hometown man pick up the win, but they lose after victory because the Nemeths attack them, beat them down. Ryan Nemeth steals the hometown man's mask. The system comes out, helps make the save. This was a terrible decision. This was a terrible decision when the Knockouts champion, Maria says. It was a decision, for sure. It was an interesting decision. We'll see how it plays out. But ultimately, yeah, there was some decisions. I think that if this was something that was last minute with Ash by Elegance, I don't know. I think they had to think of something on the fly. They had to come up with something. I ultimately don't know what the original plan was for Ash. I don't know if she was meant to win her match with I don't know. With Masha, I don't know. But I hope whatever's going on with Ash by Elegance is she gets healthy, she gets back to what she's good at, wrestling again. I hope the best for her. But yes, we will talk about that when we get to said match. But yes, the hometown man, the Nemeth, that was a fun match. It was a good time. Then we ended up, this is where we got a little interesting. Moose and Mustafa Ali. I'm sorry, I skipped over Santana and Ridge Holland. I apologize. Jesus. It's late. Santana and Ridge Holland. Santana is assured a TNA World Championship match at Bound for Glory with Trick Williams. He's taken on Ridge Holland in this spot. I don't have any backstory as to why Ridge Holland's in this spot, but I didn't hate this, man. It was an interesting back and forth. Ridge put up a pretty solid fight against Santana, working somebody a little bit bigger. Santana and him had a decent chemistry. There was that really cool spot where Santana flipped Ridge into it was going to be a power bomb, and then he ended up flipping. It was insane. I don't even know what it's called. I don't know what moves are called. You guys can tell me in the chat if you have a fun move or I don't know. Maria's correct. Santana is doing the best work of his career. Tyler says, it's my second pay-per-view of the year for TNA, but I'm watching back TNA now. Watching it a long time ago. I'll tell you something about TNA. Yeah, that's kind of me. I'm getting more and more invested over the last couple years into TNA than I was in the past. They're really hitting their stride. They have a lot of people that I really enjoy watching, Santana being one of them. I think Santana's run in TNA has been fantastic. I was one of the people screaming from the rooftops that he should have won at Slammiversary. Obviously, people told me I was crazy. It's going to happen at Bound for Glory, their biggest show of the year. Hopefully it happens. Hopefully I'm there. I am going to be there, but hopefully it happens while I'm there. Maria said Ridge is underrated. I don't disagree with that. I don't think Ridge is a bad wrestler. I think he gets a bad rap based on what happened in the Big E situation. But ultimately, yeah, I think he had a really great back and forth. It was a match that I think Santana needed to get the ball rolling. We know he's a force to be reckoned with, but kind of show people like maybe me and some of the other people that were tuning in for the first time. Because TNA, I didn't even really talk about that. TNA did a really interesting and fun thing where they let a bunch of streamers show TNA during their watch along. So maybe you caught some new people going, hey, this Santana's crushing it. Ridge, I know Ridge Holland from his WWE days. Let me check this out. So I think it worked out. Trick Williams ultimately makes his presence known. His music hits and he attacks Santana from behind, stands over him with the championship belt, which I don't know which side of that you subscribe to, but I would imagine that means Santana's winning Bound for Glory, right? I mean, for TNA's sake, I'll hope. And again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm going to couple all them thoughts with the Kalani Jordan stuff. But again, we had Moose, we had Mustafa Ali. This was the winner of this match, got the advantage for their team at Bound for Glory in their match. Essentially kind of a war game situation, right? So they'll get the one-up here. The one-up ultimately goes to the Order 4. Everyone was banned from ringside, and I didn't catch this until they made a point to tell me that everybody was banned from ringside from both factions, except for Mustafa Ali's dancers. So Mustafa Ali's dancers were just sitting out there the whole time. So I should have known in my years and years of wrestling knowledge that something was going to happen with those dancers. But of course, I just watched the match for what it was, because for my money, Mustafa Ali is one of the best to watch. I don't think he can have a bad match with anybody. The contrasting of styles of his speed and his agility and his quickness versus Moose's just overall power and strength is definitely a trope that I love. So this was kind of a match that I really got into. The steel step spot to the 450 with Moose, that was crazy. I wrote that down because I thought that was crazy, right? Like, there was just this back and forth where both guys, you could tell, wanted to get that advantage. Both dudes were just giving it their all. They put together one hell of a match. And then, yeah, the ending here, Moose has, he's kind of rocking, old Mustafa Ali like a little baby, that he's about to pull off another spear. He's about to pick up the win. He goes to the ropes and he gets low blowed by a dancer. Ref doesn't see it. Mustafa rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. Order 4 gets the advantage. And as they're celebrating, the dancer pulls, it's Tasha Steelz. She's part of the Order 4. She was in Dancer's Get Up. The ref didn't see it. I guess it counts. I know Santino was busy all night with the Knockouts Championship stuff, the Javon Evans match. He said he was wheeling and dealing. He didn't have time to say, hey, wait a minute, They got one past old Santino there. Maybe he'll figure that out tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, Thursday on the next TNA. I think they're taping tomorrow in Edmonton for this Thursday's show. Yeah, I think it was a weird finish, but at the end of the day, I didn't necessarily hate it if it's a loophole that he exploited. And generally in those type of matches anyway, at Bound for Glory, whether it be I'm blanking on what the match type is actually called for TNA, so I'm just going to explain it as in like a war game situation. In those type matches, I think it's best that the heel gets the advantage anyway, because two baby faces wailing on a heel for 5 minutes or whatever it may be is cool, but ultimately it doesn't give you that like, oh my god, I can't wait for that pop for the second person to even the odds thing. Oh my god, here he comes to even the odds. Here's JDC to even the odds. You know what I mean? So, yeah, they could have probably just given us a clean finish, but if you want to get some extra heat on the Order 4, Mustafa Ali and boys, you do it that way. I didn't talk about it earlier, but earlier in the night, one of these matches, Joe Hendry gets taken out backstage mysteriously, and one of the announcers, either Rewald or Tom, was like, I don't think he fell. I think he got attacked. Yeah, he looked like he got attacked, guys, but he's okay. He comes out. Now, this match for me was fine. Eric Young does the thing where he comes out and he says, Joe Hendry's not here. He's gone. I'm the winner of the match by forfeit. He's not coming out. Blah, blah, blah. Then what does he do? He says Joe Hendry's name and he appears. And yeah, it was a fun back and forth between the two. Again, this is not a match that I think anybody was like, I was like over the moon about, but it was Joe Hendry pretty much getting beaten down by Eric Young for most of the match because he was injured. And then Eric Young gets frustrated because he can't put Hendry away. I do like MLW. I don't watch it consistently enough, Tyler, but I do think that they put on one of the easiest watching pay-per-views in any company. It's always like a quick 2 hours, and like all the matches usually hit. So I definitely like a little MLW. I like talking MLW on my show For Exposure that airs Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. with Blair Pacheco. We always preview their pay-per-view. So if you're looking for more of me and you want to talk MLW, that would be a great place to do it because that is where we talk about that the most here. So Eric Young is frustrated because he can't put Joe Henry away. The crowd is behind Joe Henry. This is a Joe Henry positive crowd like every crowd is. So what does Eric Young do? He introduces a chair into the mix. And his old running mates, my boys, Judas Icarus and Travis Williams, his old Northern Armory come out and stop him and take the chair. But as Eric Young pulls the chair, it goes into the ring. Joe Henry ends up using the chair inadvertently, and he picks up the win. So, of course, everybody gets to sway their hands side to side. Joe Henry picks up the win. Yes, Fernando, Joe Henry is going to be a megastar in WWE when he ultimately ends up there, which I think is one of the worst-kept secrets in professional wrestling right now, is Joe Henry is absolutely signing there whenever his contract with TNA is up. And I think TNA knows it because I think that's why he's doing this stuff with, like, Eric Young. And I know he can't stay at the top of the card forever. I know you can't always be in the World Championship picture regardless, of who you are, how mega of a star you are. But I think that they're starting to they did it. He had it. He hit the top of the mountain. He's doing a lot of stuff on NXT every Tuesday night. He seems to pop up there all the time. So, again, fine. It was fine. I didn't hate it. But it was pretty standard stuff. Then we get AJ Francis versus Matt Hardy in the tables match proper that I kind of talked about earlier. AJ Francis, again, I think he's doing some of the best work. He absolutely kind of had control of most of this match. Hardy got some good offense in, but again, Hardy was they were playing the neck injury up from getting thrown through the table. But ultimately, we get Matt Hardy winning, which I think is, again, the right call because we're on a collision course for the Dudley Boys versus the Hardy Boys in a TLC match at Bound for Glory one final time. That leg drop spot at the end there I thought was absolutely gnarly. Okay. Okay, let me take some water because... All right. We are at the women's TNA, or it's the TNA Knockouts Championship match between Lee and Jordan. I'm going to say this. I thought the match was absolutely fantastic. I thought the back and forth between both of them was great. I loved that Indy Hartwell was the special guest referee, and I absolutely loved that she called it 100% down the middle, even when they were giving her shit. She called it down the middle. But I thought their back and forth, Lee's back and forth, and Jordan, there was no quit. They had spots to the outside. Kalani Jordan just seemed to turn herself up a little bit because it's a championship match. So she hit that next level. Hardy needs to be careful so he doesn't get injured before Bound for Glory. Ain't that the truth, man? Yes, Tyler, I can't wait to see Javon versus Leon. We'll talk a little bit more about that here at the end. But yeah, I really enjoyed this match. I really enjoyed this back and forth. I'm not sure why Xia Li is not. I'm calling her, but Xia Li that's definitely her WWE name. So I apologize, but I still call Edge. Sometimes I still call Bryan Danielson Daniel Bryan. It's just what I do. It's in my brain. It's how I work. So judge me. I'm not sure why they didn't go with Lee here. I know that the ultimate match is Indy Hartwell. That's the move at Bound for Glory because she's got the title shot. Fernando saying Indy should have been in this match. But if you've got the match at Bound for Glory, I'm not sure the rationale here because here's where I'm at. I think a lot of WWE fans watch this pay-per-view tonight based on what happened in NXT. And at NXT, TNA invaded the show. They were everywhere. They ended the show. They invaded your show. So I think we were thinking, okay, WWE's going to return the favor. Here's where I'm at with that. WWE doesn't have to invade a show. They're the WWE, right? They're winning your championships. you have to come crash our party. We just show up and take your gold. Like, we don't have to come crash TNA because we're the alpha in this relationship. I understand again that the Masha stuff, the Ash by Elegance stuff, probably threw a huge wrench into what was planned, and they had to come up with something. Because again, this match was not made official until like 2 hours before it happened. So the decision was made to give it to Kalani Jordan. And don't get me wrong, Kalani Jordan is awesome. I think she's one of the believe it or not, she's one of the more underrated, not as much talked about NXT women on the roster, because they have so many big names like Blake Monroe, Jordan Grace, JC Jane's been killing it as the champ, things like that. Like they've got a lot going on in that division. Right? Sol Ruka's on fire. I could go on for a while. And then you get to Kalani Jordan and you forget, oh shoot, she's the first ever North American Women's Champion. She's fantastic in her own right. So I don't disagree, but we just got that title back from TNA. We had that moment at that NXT pay-per-view that I'm blanking on that I did the post show for, where she got it back from JC Jane there, Ash by Elegance, and here we are. It's back in WWE again. I don't know. This partnership to me feels incredibly one-sided at the moment. Like, yes, it's good exposure for TNA, and yes, TNA is probably getting more viewers and more people, watching the product because of the WWE involvement. But their championships should stay relatively, like, it's becoming very commonplace, where it's not as big a surprise anymore. We're like, oh, well, Kalani's your Knockouts champion, JC's like, the women on WWE television have held the Knockouts Championship longer than the TNA brand itself. And unless this is going to pay off absolutely massive in this invasion angle, where it's going to be like Bound for Glory, is like TNA rises up as a company and absolutely just slaughters WWE. I don't know why we keep going to this path here. And I know why the WWE is doing it. But if you're TNA, can't you say, like, all right, like, we got to come up with a better alternative than let's just put it on Kalani, and what do we do? And Trick's got the Knockouts Championship, and I don't know. This is not a slight on the ladies in the match. Indy Hartwell played it perfectly. She looked visibly upset that she called it down the middle, but I think she had to call it down the middle. She's clearly going to be the babyface in this scenario. Kalani Jordan is the enemy. She's coming into enemy territory at the biggest pay-per-view of their year, and boom, Indy gets the big win. Now, Indy was a former WWE person as well, but they are TNA right now, so I am excited for that. He said, for Tyler, we'll stop for a second. Tyler says, calling it now, WWE will purchase. That maybe. We want to lock down Lethal. We want to lock down Lethal, not War Games, please. Okay, it's Lethal Lockdown, whatever it's called. I apologize. I just was blanking on the name here. I'm sitting here. I don't want to mess up my system here and screw something up and push buttons because I'm flying solo today. And if I crash my own stream, there'll be no one to help me out, because that's generally what happens when I start pushing buttons. But yeah, that's essentially what they're doing. But yeah, will TNA get sold? Maybe. Will they end up with it? Is this a way to help them? Like the rumors had ran rapid that the WWE wants TNA to be number 2. TNA came out this week, and I think Santino said like they'll be the number 2 company if they get a good TV deal. I don't necessarily know if that's true or not. That would have to be wait and see where you land. I mean, AEW, for all intents and purposes in my book, is doing an absolutely fantastic job right now. I think that they're on a really good trajectory. They've kind of got their footing back. Yeah, there's still some problems in that company, but they're TNA, like there's still a lot to do here. There's still a lot to do. And I don't know if a TV deal is the ultimate answer to all of their problems, but that again, put your money where your mouth is, get your TV deal and prove it. But again, that's a rant for a whole nother day. If everybody's enjoying my solo work here, maybe we could talk the powers that be into letting me do more solo content where I just answer questions and do Q&As or something, where you can ask me those type of questions, because I don't want to go down these rabbit holes of all my thoughts on TV deals and TNA versus AEW and yeah. But yeah, at the end of the day, we have an NXT superstar with another TNA championship. It seems to become the norm. They go into these companies, they take their gold. And you think it's going to be TNA is going to go to CW. Well, CW's NXT, if they're happy with NXT, that could be a spot. I don't know. Rainmaker Wrestling Podcast. I can't believe you're up, my man, because it's later for me than it is for you. But Grainmaker, I was just telling everybody to tune in here in a few hours as we have Josh Caldwell and Max from Boom Pro Wrestling on 4 Exposure at 10 o'clock. We're going to have a good time. We're going to talk about 22 Jump Street. More solo Pluggo streams. Thank you, Fernando. Somebody screenshot that and send that to Spencer Love, at Spenny Love on Twitter. Let him know. We'll blow his budget all day. If they go to the CW, maybe we'll get an NXT Riverdale crossover. Maybe if they go to the CW, we could bring back Everybody Hates Chris or something. I don't know, man. If they go to the CW Thursday nights, I don't know if they're going to stay on Thursday nights. I don't know if they would move to another night. Again, I don't know how happy the CW is with NXT right now. But hey, anything's possible. And if they want to, they go where they go, and if they succeed, I'm happy. I'm of the ilk that everybody succeeding in wrestling is a good thing. I don't necessarily want to see TNA go out of business, WWE fold, any of that. I want to see everybody rise up and put on the best product they can put on, because I enjoy all of it. I cover all of it. I watch a lot of it. You can ask Mrs. Pluggo, who probably fell asleep. But yeah, I watch wrestling more than I do pretty much anything else in my life. And I'm not lying to you about the TNA, the TV deal that made. Yeah, listen, and I don't think you're lying either. I have no sources that indicate that you're not. I don't think that the CW is a bad move. Again, if you're already happy with the wrestling you're putting on, why not put on another wrestling program? We shall see. Those are stuff maybe I should do a little more digging on. But again, I don't hate it. Does Mrs. Pluggo watch wrestling? Mrs. Pluggo watches wrestling kind of vicariously through me, in the sense that, like, if it's on, she'll take a look at it, but she's not like into it. She's more of a reader. She'll read her books while I watch, but she is a fan of like Nikki Bella, the Bella twins. She likes Daniel Bryan. She likes Kevin Owens. So she'll watch people. She loves Rhea Ripley. I think if Rhea Ripley knocked on my front door, she'd leave me in a heartbeat for her. But yeah, so she'll watch it if I'm watching it. She's very supportive of all of this. So all of this is not possible without a Mrs. Pluggo. So Fernando, shout her out to the rooftop. Always shout her out, because she lets me come down here at god-awful hours of the day and do what I gotta do. What's my thoughts on Doink? Doink the Clown, which one? Isn't there a couple of them? I used to play with Doink the Clown a lot in an old school wrestling video game that we had for the Sega Genesis when I was a kid. I don't know a ton about Doink the Clown, believe it or not. He was a little early on my watching that I remember. So her thoughts. What's her thoughts on Doink? Oh, well, if I asked her who Doink the Clown is, I don't know if she would know. But I'll ask her tomorrow, and I'll let you know in the morning for 4 Exposure. How does Mrs. Pluggo? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how she feels about it. Blair, I don't know. You'll have to ask her. It's a tweet at her. She's got a Twitter, guys. Go to @Mrs. Pluggo on Twitter and ask her a bunch of questions. But I'll ask her personally tomorrow morning when she wakes up. But then we get to the International Championship match between Steve Macklin and Fine and Kazarian. This, for me, it felt like it was going to be this, blood sport, blood feud matchup. And it was hard hitting. It was back and forth. No guy could seem to get one up on another. Yes, Tyler, they do literally promote their TNA wrestlers on NXT or CW Sports. Yeah, they do all that. until it's signed though, until the contract is signed, I don't believe anything until it's official, because at the 0 hour somebody could swoop in and go, because listen, the WWE, if they are partnering with TNA, if they end up buying TNA, they have shown that they love having as many products as possible on different platforms to extend their reach. So CW makes perfect sense. I don't hate it. The CW is trying really hard to get into the live sports market, as they have NASCAR, they got college football, they do college basketball, they do pro volleyball, if you watch some of those shows, and now they're in the wrestling game. So 100%. But I don't necessarily, again, I just don't believe things till I see it, because you never know what could happen. And WWE might not decide to buy TNA. They might not have the money. I mean, TKO's broke as the way they're crying poor right now, even though ticket prices are $8,000 for floor seats. You know what I can do with $8,000? Go to WrestleMania for a night, but I could do other things. That's where Mrs. Pluggo would draw the line. FX channel, yeah, FX. I mean, there's options. They got plenty of options. If in a CW that they're testing the waters there. Tyler says he thinks Frankie Kazarian defeated Steve Maclin. I thought it was a long match. It was a good match. It was slow. It was more of a brawl that felt very slow paced, when I thought for sure we would see more violence out of it. I thought we'd see Kazarian maybe try to cross that line a little bit more. I thought we would see him try to, do some underhanded tactics to win, because that was the whole thing. I'm going to do anything I can to win. I'm going to do anything I can. And Maclin had an answer for everything Cass threw at him, and Cass had an answer for everything Maclin threw him. So I actually thought this was a really good international championship match between the two. I really enjoyed the back and forth. The El Macias stuff at the end, where then ultimately Cass uses the ropes to low blow him and finish him off and get the win, was okay. I don't know much about El Macias. He's CMLL guy. He showed up on the pre-show. Cool. But, Kazarian's your new international champion. I'm assuming we'll get a match between Macias and Maclin at some point. Maybe this means we'll see Maclin get back into the world title picture. He's gonna, Santana, if he wins when he wins Bound for Glory. I'm just gonna call it now and say that Santana's winning at Bound for Glory. And if he does not, I might cry in that building in Lowell, Massachusetts, because it's a sad day for me. He could be a good first challenger for old Santana there. Yeah. And then, like Tyler said earlier, he really enjoyed Leon Slater and Myron Reed. I said at the beginning of the show, if you missed it, because we kind of just talked about it a little bit. Yeah, Steve Maclin versus Santana in the first pay-per-view after Bound for Glory, I don't think is a bad move. Yeah, TKO lives paycheck to paycheck like I do. You know what? They do, man. We might have more money than TKO. We not even the way they talk in these days. Yeah, this was a very Pluggo match. I love Myron Reed. I love Leon Slater. Leon Slater is one of my absolute favorite up-and-coming talents. He played this match with Myron Reed kind of perfect. Like Myron tried to, and they said it on commentary a couple times, like Myron tried to big brother him a little bit, and Leon just is like, he's got this young arrogance to him, but it works for him, right? It's not like an arrogance that like turns you off. It's this arrogance and confidence of like, I don't care how young I am. I'm in charge here. You're not going to bully me. I'm going to take care of business. They had some 450s that were gnarly, some crazy stuff. It's crazy spot after crazy spot. Myron Reed hit that Canadian Destroyer. That thing was filthy, and he hit it flush. And then Leon Slater kicks out. See you in the morning, Grainmaker. I will be there, buddy. I will absolutely be there. Probably tired, but I'll get some caffeine in me. But yeah, so Leon Slater wins it. He retains. He is your still X Division champion. I thought that was really cool to put that in the main event. I think they said that the X Division title hasn't main evented a pay-per-view for TNA in forever. And I think this was Myron Reed's first TNA main event. Leon Slater is still undefeated over the last like 5.5 months. It was, and then the way Santino came out at the end and was just like, this is Leon Slater, this is the future, this is wrestling, like that. I thought that was a really cool touch because, again, like I said, I think you had a lot of new eyes tonight on Victory Road, where you're like, people are tuning in because of what happened on Tuesday, and then also because, like I said, I think it was more easily accessible to a lot of people. And basically say, this is our dude, this is our guy, and we need a match for him at Bound for Glory, and it's going to be Javon Evans. I don't know how Javon did. I'm assuming he lost to Sami Zayn tonight, but he answered the call on SmackDown. So Javon was he was on SmackDown and on TNA. I'm sure the TNA thing was a pre-taped situation, but still very cool to see Javon Evans on 2 shows on the same night, technically. I love to see that. I'm still a huge fan of that. When we remember back in the day when we'd have like, oh my God, this guy was on Monday Night Raw and Nitro. How did that happen? You know, because of the crossovers, the tape delays, all that fun stuff. But ultimately, at the end of the day, Victory Road, we're on the road to Bound for Glory. I had a good time. I thought it was a very fun show. There was some things that I really loved. Like I said, the main event, the women's championship match, that opener 3-way, those are my style matches. I really like Macklin and Kazarian. Some of the other stuff maybe was a little not my style, but that's okay. I don't watch TNA. I don't get to do these very often, where I get to sit and talk TNA and sit and really watch just TNA based on some of the other stuff I have to cover. So I had a good time with it. I definitely suggest, if you are thinking about getting into TNA, go for it. There's a lot of great talent on that roster. There's a lot of great talent on that roster that didn't even make tonight's show. So, you know, tune in tomorrow. We didn't get to see Sinner and Saint do their thing. Judas and Travis, they came out, but I want to go watch them in a tag match. They're fantastic. The first X Division main event since AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels versus Samoa Joe. So yeah, it's been like, what, that match was 2008? Something like that, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have it in front of me, but so we're 17, 20 years. We'll just estimate. We'll round up because it's late. You've watched TNA from the beginning, Fernando. I commend you for that. I think that's fantastic. I would love to go back and watch some old TNA matches because I was never really a big TNA guy, so I didn't really watch it early, so I don't have a grasp on a lot of the early stuff. And then I started to try to watch it like 6-7 years back, and it just wasn't my vibe. And then like I said, I've really started to get more into it, pay more attention to it. So if you have match suggestions, hit me up on Twitter. Let me know. But that was TNA's Victory Road. I'm not going to sit here. The Asylum days was fire, Fernando says. I'm not going to sit here and bore you guys forever. If you've liked what I do, I don't know when I'm going to be doing the next Pluggo's PLE post show. Because, like I said, I will be at Bound for Glory. That would be the next TNA one. And with the Crown Jewel show is the weekend of Bound for Glory. I will be in Boston, so I'm not 100% sure how I would navigate that. But we will see. I will let you know. Again, this was very last minute yesterday. This was me looking at the schedule going, I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to do this. And I usually bring on some really fun panel guests, but it was late this week. This show, like I said, it's after midnight. People are tired. I get it. So I thought, I'm not going to let you guys down. I'm going to run solo. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want more of my content and what I do here at Love Wrestling, or over at the Hive, or just over on my personal socials, go to @Pluggo on all social media. So if you start typing in Pluggo, this face pops up. That is me. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, give me a follow. If you want to see more of this stuff here at Love Wrestling, go to Love Wrestling CA on all social medias and tell them, hey, we need more Pluggo in our lives. And I'm sure I can convince the bosses to let me do that. You will see me tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Like I said, Josh Caldwell, your 365 champion, is going to be on For Exposure, and we're going to have Max from Boom Pro Wrestling. We're also going to get you ready for Love Wrestling's show next week, and there's a few other fun things coming up, so you'll want to go to For Exposure there. Thursday nights here, Between Two Beards with JPJ. Like always, I'm always there. Go to @B2Beards on all your socials to follow us there. And all of my writings and my top fives are up right now on lovewrestling.ca. Thank you, Tyler, for hanging out. Fernando, Maria, Lawrence was in the chat earlier. Zach, thank you guys so much. We will see you guys at the next PLE that I am able to do. I will keep you posted on my socials. Until next time, peace.